Welcome to another edition of Exit Philosophy. He's Mal, I'm Griff, and we're recording on the off day before the dramatic Game 6 and possibly Game 7 at Rogers Center.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah, it's been exciting, and we're going to talk about it. But before we get into that, thanks for listening again. Thanks for subscribing to Exit Philosophy. And if you enjoy us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and leave us a review. Mal, the World Series, Blue Jays versus Dodgers. Nobody would have thought that at the beginning of the season. And now here we are with Game 6 taking place on Halloween night. Could there be a more dramatic setting? And do we expect a lot of Blue Jays fans to show up in costume?
That's something I never considered. I think there's just going to be a lot of costumes in blue. That's all I think. It is kind of neat that it's on Halloween, kind of a celebratory night, so to speak. So, I mean, it's still hard for me to believe this is happening. It's all so surreal at this stage with everything they've managed to accomplish in the postseason. Never mind the regular season. They just keep coming at you, and it's certainly set up for quite a weekend here. And let's, like you said, hopefully just a Friday night so people can be very, very happy through the weekend and not stress on a Saturday night either. So, it'll be fun to watch tomorrow.
We'll get into the history in a minute of teams that come home leading a series 3-2 as the Blue Jays do. And we'll concentrate on this century, on the 21st century. So 2001, which was the Diamondbacks and the New York Yankees, and it began the demise of the Yankee dynasty. I think they've only won one World Series this century, so there you go. But we will talk about Game 5.
Yes.
World Series. Trey Yesavage. One of the hallmarks of this Blue Jays team has been, and it's becoming a cliche, the resilience. But after the 18-inning Game 3 loss at Dodger Stadium, they came back and they won Game 4 and Game 5. Did that surprise you in any way, or what were your impressions? I mean, we've dealt with this ability to bounce back all year. So, I mean, for those who have been around the Blue Jays and paying attention, it shouldn't come as a surprise. What were your thoughts on that?
It shouldn't come as a surprise, but it just, I mean, it does. I mean, for me, it does. I mean, maybe I'm the guy who doesn't get it here, but they just keep doing things that you don't expect this team to do. And I think at the end of the day, what I'm going to remember the most is how these guys pile on runs. It's not, there are moments when they get shut down. We've seen it, 1 run, 4 hits, but it's their ability that they've scored the most 4+ run innings. It's their ability to not strike out and just chip away. And then they go from down 1-0, and they put a 4, 5, 6 spot on the board, and the game's over almost. That's the thing that I think is most impressive, is their ability to just put a crooked number on the board because they just don't give away outs. Like there are no, they're not striking out. And it's, I think that's the part of the thing I like in this modern day and age, Griff, when it's the 3 true outcomes, right? Walk, strikeout, home run. They've kind of reversed that. And it's nice to see because it reminds you more of what I'd like to see in baseball, and that's just action for start. Working pitchers, spraying the ball to right field, just getting on base, moving runners, and all of a sudden you put pressure on the defense and they make a mistake out there, and a couple runs score, and all of a sudden it's like, whoops, what happened? That's what I see. That's what I'll remember from this team. I'm not sure what your takeaway is, but that's the thing I remember the most.
Yeah, Mal, you pointed it out, and you know how much I believe that baseball, Major League Baseball, is a copycat game.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
What you're talking about and the way the Blue Jays go about their business and winning ball games and being relentless and putting the ball in play, relying on the fact that if an opposing team, the Yankees, for instance, has built a team on offense that they probably weren't concentrating a lot on defending and run prevention. And it was a cliche for this front office to say run prevention, run prevention, run prevention. But if anyone's looking at the Blue Jays and going, well, let's do the traditional copycat thing. Let's go out and do the same sort of thing. I think that's good for the sport, good for the game of baseball, good for what you and I like about the traditional old school game. It doesn't mean like get off my lawn old school, but it means like you described very well, putting the ball in play, building on base runners. And I think that I first noticed the copycat thing, in fact, with the Dodgers in 1988 when they signed Kirk Gibson as a one free agent signing outfielder, slugging, became a key to that winning that World Series, had the big home run against Dennis Eckersley. And then the next offseason, there were a lot of teams looking for that one guy to put them over the top, to bring them to that Kirk Gibson type of moment. And then we've already talked many times about bullpens and how bullpen strength has become what World Series, what postseason teams are looking for. And that became copycat. I think it began the 2010, 2012, 2014 San Francisco Giants that won the World Series. And we talked about the Kansas City Royals and the year that they beat the Blue Jays in 2015. They had a three-headed monster out there in the pen. And other teams have done that, and that continues. But if we could see baseball head towards putting the ball in play, playing a little old school, playing like the Blue Jays have been playing to get to where they are, I think it would be good for the game. I mean, just a point off topic here, but really on topic. Have you ever seen a bench of players that expect to be in the game over 9 innings? Like if they're behind, you have hitters knowing that they're going to hit for somebody. If you're ahead, you have defenders knowing they're going to go in defensively to preserve a lead. And the guys that go in defensively aren't donkeys at the plate, so that they can put the ball in play. They can do the Blue Jays.
They're supposed to be, but they're not. But they're not. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're contributing. They're contributing.
Yeah. So I think that that's what leads to the feel of closeness in that clubhouse, in that dugout, and with the coaching staff. What do you feel about that?
No, I agree. Because you know what? It's like anything, like Griff, when you're doing something right, you're zigging when everybody's zagging. I can even think coming into this playoffs, you need the boppers in the playoffs. The home run's the thing that doesn't go to sleep. You don't get the hits in the playoffs because you're facing the top pitchers in game. So the power's still there. You need the guys to hit the home runs because the singles and doubles dry up. Well, that's been the opposite for the Jays. Now they still have enough power to make damage, but they're zigging, man. They're getting hits. They're getting on base where, historically that didn't seem to be the thing you could do in the playoffs. And now they've got this group of players, the Ernie Clements, even, Jimenez is just putting the ball in play and finding, hit it where they ain't type of base hits sometimes. And that's the thing. I think that's the thing that when it's all said and done, where you have to give them credit for is finding guys that are all doing that kind of thing and not selling out, for you look at some of the swings on the Dodgers. My gosh, it's the same swing. Pages is not in the lineup anymore because he's just swinging out his rear end. Mookie Betts looks awful and looks like there's no adjustments up there with these guys. It's the same approach, and Blue Jays are killing them for it. And that lineup just looks shallow right now compared to Toronto's, which look at the names. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I just want to get your impression, and I was going to reach Game 5, but I'm going to work backwards from Game 5. Yesavage started. Well, first of all, let's consider the fact that in 2022, Trey Yesavage was a freshman at East Carolina, and made 34 relief appearances, made no starts. That's 3 years ago. And now, 3 years later,
he didn't even start
Game 5 of the World Series. What after Game 1, where he threw 10 out of 80 splitters, and that's supposed to be his out pitch, his great weapon, coming from 7'1" or whatever it is right over the top. Do you think that the Dodgers were fooled because they didn't see? I think he threw like 30 splitters in Game 5. And like you said, they're swinging out of their ass. Do you think that this was a pitcher that they hadn't seen before, and that's how he was so effective?
I think the result of not having your best command, which he didn't, and the guts to get through that first outing when he was on the ropes, and he got a couple of key strikeouts to keep them where he needed to. But
three double play grounders in consecutive innings. The
residual from not really having it really showed up last night, because he was in full command last night, and they didn't see that splitter the way they did last night. It was nasty. It was just impressive. He hung a couple there in the mid innings, and they didn't take advantage of it, and he locked it down. And you know what's nice to see too, Griff, like it's so unusual to have a kid, ascend to these levels so quickly, but it goes against what baseball does. And sometimes you got to look at what you have with your eyes and go, this kid, let's see what he can do, because he might make the difference for us. Instead of, a lot of organizations would have kept him in the minor leagues, not even got him to this point, and just, let's see what you got. Let's try to win one.
Mal, I remember we were doing an exit philosophy in August. It might have been late July, early August. And we were talking about the possibility of Yesavage coming up and in September sometime and being a part of the postseason roster. And your point was, talent is talent. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you have the talent, you can do it. And I remember that, because it's so true when you watch this kid, 22 years old. He said after the game last night that when he was warming up in the bullpen, the Dodger fans were all over him warming up, and he said he loved it. He loved it. He loved it more than even perhaps pitching at home and just getting nothing but fan adulation. He loved the challenge of pitching at Dodger Stadium. And you could be 22, you could be 30, but it's the same. If you have that talent, it's all then in your head. And he's obviously a mature 22-year-old. And the fact that he's surrounded when he comes off the field after an outing, or when he comes off the field after an inning, he gets input from a future Hall of Famer, Max Scherzer, Chris Bassitt, who's not a future Hall of Famer, but he's a Hall of Fame talker. And you get like Kevin Gausman.
You guys are in the same Hall of Fame, I think.
Kevin Gausman. And like that has to help in terms of keeping him with a level head, and even striking out 12 as he did, setting a record for Major League rookie, and coincidentally breaking a record held since 1949 by Don Newcomb, who was a Dodger. And I think coming from the Negro Leagues, Don Newcomb came in a couple of years, obviously, after Jackie Robinson. But he might have been a little bit older than Yesavage, right, but probably had more of a challenge. There weren't some people being so kind as he warmed up before the game.
Trey doesn't know how easy.
Yeah, he doesn't know how easy he's got it.
That was.
But I think the maturity with which he's surrounded probably helps as much as anything.
Well, I remember us talking about it, and we were both in favor of Yesavage coming up and getting a run. We talked about comparing it to David Price, but I don't think either of us imagined that he would have this kind of impact and be really the dominant starter on the team. That just blows my mind. He's got an outside shot if he pitches in a Game 7 to win the MVP of this whole damn thing, and wouldn't that be ridiculous. I mean, just ridiculous. I mean, if he'd come out and close the game 7, I don't even know. I mean, you might want to retire. Wow, you know what I mean?
If he was
I want to get paid first.
if he was World Series MVP, and I was thinking about that last night and the same scenario, and we didn't talk about it, but if he did come out and nail down Game 7 for the World Series title, it would be similar to Ken Dryden being the Conn Smythe Award winner and then being Rookie of the Year the next year, because Yesavage still has the ability to be a Rookie of the Year next year. That's what it reminded me of. But and then, of course, with Dryden passing away late in the baseball season, it would be ironic.
That really would be. I mean, because there's very few instances or anything to compare it with, and I think Dryden's probably the only one. Now, Trey's going to have a lot more difficult time getting a Rookie of the Year. Dryden, I think, had an easy ride with a teammate stacked in front of him like that. Trey's good. But, I mean, it is incredible, the comparisons. And just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just that performance last night was otherworldly. I mean, the way he made Ohtani look, which, you know, everybody wanted to walk the guy 4 times. You know, we can't pitch to Ohtani. And since that fateful 18-inning ball game, they've done just fine.
Yeah. I want to talk about.
To shut him down a little bit, haven't they?
I want to talk later on shortly about the cult of let's walk Ohtani every time up, that group. And but before that, let's just wrap up the Game 5 result with your kid pitching Game 5. You've got your good splitter. He said he knew throwing in the outfield before he even went to the bullpen that he would be using it a lot more than he had in Game 1. And then first pitch of the game, your teammate hits a solo homer. Third pitch of the game, your superstar hits a solo homer, and you're going to the mound up 2-0. How important and how key might that be for a kid in that situation?
Yeah, it certainly takes the heat off a little bit, doesn't it? You see that the juices get flowing, the bench is fired up. You know, you're ready to go after that. Blake Snell sure found out real quick he didn't have quite the good fastball last night. After those 2 pitches, he shut the fastball down for a good bit. But for Yesavage, no question, you got to think he was fired up coming out of that dugout. And if I don't know if whatever it was, he was ready to go. There's no question. That was something.
So Game 6 on Halloween is going to be Yamamoto, who was spectacular. I didn't even know he was that good until seeing him maybe once on TV during the season, but definitely in person at Rogers Center in Game 2. And now he's going again in Game 6. I don't think it's a given that the second time they see him is going to be easier. What do you think?
I don't think it's going to be easy too. I mean, sometimes you can like Yesavage, you can know what's coming. That doesn't mean you can hit it. And he's got so many weapons, Yamamoto. Like, he's just got a litany of pitches. And you know, I think it took him a little while to get comfortable over here, North America. And once he did, like, he's just kind of built on that, and he looks like a machine. That being said, man, is it ever sent up to have some kind of send-off for our boy on the mound on our side here with Mr. Scherzer. Do you imagine if he could throw a gem and what that would mean to the crowd, to his career, just putting an exclamation point on everything? I mean, the stage is set for a lot of wonderful things to happen. That's for sure. It's going to be much anticipated. That's just waiting for that 8 o'clock to roll around.
Yeah, and speaking of that, and if you were just looking at Max Scherzer, the Blue Jay, you'd say, boy, this guy talks a good game. Somebody's going to shut him up. But the fact is that he's done this for 4 different teams in the World Series. He's going to the Hall of Fame. And when he talks, people have to listen. And so it would be, as you point out, it would be like a capper for him to outduel Yamamoto and to at least carry the game through 5, maybe 6 innings, then have the bullpen come in and try and shut it down. But that would be a great way. He said he's not going to retire. So, I don't think, of course, somebody's got to sign him for $15 million and say, this guy's worth it.
Yeah.
If you're going to the World Series and he's going to be pitching Game 6, then maybe it's worth it. But only 2 teams are going to, and neither one is going to know for the 2026 season. So it's a bit of a roll of the dice, K.
Yeah,
no,
I would say.
I said dice K because Yamamoto reminds me so much of Matsuzaka when he came with the Red Sox, just the same pitching style. And we know that the Japanese pitchers all have a certain method to their mound madness. And that's who he reminded me of. But he was so good in Game 2. It'll be interesting to see if this series does not go to Game 7. The 18-inning game. I want to talk about how there was a mania, and you mentioned it, over walking Ohtani every time up. And people point to Pete Walker in the 7th inning going to the mound, talking to Seranthony Dominguez and saying, clearly, we don't want him to beat us. Here's what you have to do. Pitch around and make him chase if he wants to really swing the bat and be a hero. And the first pitch is 97, right down middle.
Yeah, and I thought Pete said, let's try and fool him. He won't be expecting down the dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got
I don't believe I've ever
I don't think
heard
so.
Walker give that strategy before.
That's right. That's right. Can you imagine what Pete was thinking after that pitch?
Yeah.
After just going out there going, what in the hell was that?
Yeah, I know that there were expletives bouncing around in his head knowing Pete.
Yes.
But just the fact of people suggesting that he should be walked, even leading off Game 4. Like, what? You've got Shane Bieber, who's won he's won a Cy Young Award, and you're suggesting that Shane Bieber needs to walk the leadoff hitter. And what message does that send to your own superstar, Vlad Guerrero, that you're showing so much respect to this other team's leadoff hitter that your opponent isn't showing to you? I mean, it just made no sense. It makes no sense.
Wow.
When a guy hits 300, he's making out 7 out of 10 times when he swings the bat,
Right.
You walk him, he's not making out ever.
Well, and don't forget, you got major leaguers on the other side, like you said, like Bieber. Like, what does that say to him? I can remember, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, when a fella named Matt Chapman, lit up John Schneider in the dugout for pitching to Ohtani in the first inning. I can also tell you that there was a pitcher on their side named Kevin Gausman who wasn't too pleased that his teammate thought he couldn't get him out.
Yeah.
like, what are you saying? You don't think I can get the guy out in the first inning? I mean, you can't be walking, like you said, he's going to get out 7 out of 10 times, and you have to go attack him. And I get in an 18-inning game when 1 run wins the ball game, I understand that you're going to be very careful. And the situations worked out where it made sense to walk him in that environment, but not the next 2 games. And they haven't, and they've gone after him. And geez, they kind of made him look silly at times too, haven't they? So
I mean,
it's nice to see.
In the postseason, if you take his 3 home run game against Milwaukee where he pitched, if you take his 9 on base game against the Jays, and then he had 1 or 2 hits in another Jays game in this World Series, but the rest of the time he's hitting under 200, and so obviously he can make outs. Obviously, over the course of 162 games, you see that he can make outs. And in the situation in that 18-inning game, they had a 1-run lead, and if you walk him, he has the ability to steal a bag, especially when he's not pitching that game. And he did. He's stole a base, came off the bag, got tagged. So it just makes no sense, and it pissed me off that people were saying.
I've heard that.
Yeah,
and I agree with you. And they compare it to Bonds. He's not Bonds. And let's be honest, the whole Bonds thing, we know the whole story. There was a little extra. It was very difficult to get him out in those days. And Bonds was hitting 75 bombs. Not Ohtani is not quite there. I mean, he might be the best player of all time for sure, but he's not the threat offensively that Bonds was at that time. So it's a different scenario. There's no question about it. I'm with you on that one. And one thing you did mention that it's bad for the game, and it is. If let's play. Let's get the guy out, for crying out loud, and pitch. That's what we want to see. We want to see the guy hit.
I'm sure that Mary Hart didn't pay $1,500 for her ticket to see John Schneider hold up 4 fingers. Like, come on.
Was that her husband who got popped there?
Yeah. We're looking for entertainment tonight.
That's right.
We don't need 4 fingers in the air.
Well, that's the last we've seen of Mary this year.
Yeah.
Unless she shows up in Toronto, you never know.
I doubt that. We might see. I think there's a lot of celebrities, Canadians. Justin Bieber was there in LA cheering. Geddy Lee was there cheering.
Maybe they could have got one of these celebrities to sing the anthem instead of the B-listers they were running out there.
That is exactly what I was thinking last night.
I mean, I think they did that on purpose, right? Because let's send the most nondescript Canadians nobody knows of.
Yeah, well, I've heard of the guy last night, but I forget what his first name is right now. But he got the words wrong, he got the tune wrong, and that's been a common thread all the way through. So
it has.
I think they're doing it on purpose. They are definitely doing it on purpose.
And I'm all for that, actually.
Screwing it up on purpose.
Yeah, bring it on. Forget the B-listers coming out. It's kind of comical.
Yeah.
People take that stuff too seriously, in my opinion.
I still remember the Linda Ronstadt anthem at Dodger Stadium, and she was just so good and so beautiful, and it was the sun was shining, and like I was a kid. I was in awe,
That's when life peaked for Rich Griffin right there.
All right. So the history of 21st century, similar to what the Blue Jays have done. So I researched coming home with a 3-2 lead. Teams coming home with a 3-2 lead. So that means obviously the series is either going 6 games or 7 games. And those teams coming home with a 3-2 lead are 3-2, 3 wins. There's been 5 out of 24 World Series in this century that have had that result. And the team coming home with the 3-2 lead has won in 6 games. So they win the next game. For instance, tomorrow's Halloween game.
Yep.
They win 3 times. And then if they go to game 7, they've lost both of those. So historically, it says that the Jays need to win. They need to beat Yamamoto, or if it goes to 7 games, all bets are off, because those 2 series were the 2016 Indians coming home, and the Cubs beat them 2 in a row to win their first World Series in like 100 years. And that was, to me, one of the greatest World Series I've been to. And so I remember that one. And that follows a similar scenario to what the Jays are doing. And then the other one was the 2019 Astros went home with a 3-2 lead, and the Nationals took 2 games there to win the series. So in this century, it's happened twice, but that's more than 0.
That's when there was a young budding superstar named Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, right. Who's still making more money than the Pope.
He might still be budding.
Right. But are you of the belief that this series is in the bag for the Jays at 3-2 coming?
Well, the way it's going, yes, but of course not. I mean, the matchup clearly favors the Dodgers. They're heavily favored, I think, to win tomorrow. I mean, relatively speaking. Of course, it's not in the bag. I mean, there's one more job to get done, right? But I know it's a small sample, so it may mean absolutely nothing. But it's not surprising the teams that lost Game 6 were those teams and then they also lost Game 7. It's just something about you want to get your business taken care of tomorrow night. You just don't want to go into Game 7, and I think having that opportunity to take care of business the day before and not doing it, I'm sure that has some sort of mental stress and oops, we let one get away type of feel. So just take care of business tomorrow. Do what you do. Find a way to slap 2 or 3 runs on Yamamoto, and then get into that grind of a late inning bullpen and see if they can't put a crooked number up again like they do. If they can get him out of the game, that's obviously going to be the challenge. But yeah, I think you want to take care of business tomorrow. I wouldn't want to go to a Game 7, but I mean, all things being equal right now, you'd take that start of the year type thing. But
it's funny how everyone in Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball media wants to favor the Dodgers, like the Jays won Game 1, 11-4, and everybody's going on about how the Jays are in the driver's seat and everything's going. And then as soon as Yamamoto won Game 2, the Dodgers became heavy favorites again. As soon as the Dodgers won the 18-inning game,
it was over.
It became heavy favorites again. And I feel as soon as Yamamoto wins Game 6, the Dodgers will be, even though the game is at Rogers Center, Game 7 on Saturday, I have a feeling that the Dodgers would become heavy favorites again.
Oh, if it gets to Game 7, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, the pitching matchup to me doesn't necessarily favor the Dodgers in Game 7.
Well, people don't pay attention to that. It's the logo that they're looking at,
Yeah, and in the lineup, but frankly, that Dodger lineup's been rather horseshit.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jays lineup has just been simply better, which defies reality sometimes.
What's funny, Mal, is that very well that New York and MLB offices didn't really want the Blue Jays in the World Series. The Dodgers, yeah, great. But to me, this has become the international World Series ever, with all of Canada supplying 7 million viewers to the World Series, Japan providing probably 10 to 15 million viewers or more, who knows, with Sasaki and Ohtani and Yamamoto. And then U.S. having their usual pedestrian numbers for the World Series. But if you add up the 3, which MLB will do and which Fox Network will do, it's going to be huge. It's going to be like one of the biggest, the most watched World Series in maybe this century, since we're dealing with this century.
Yeah, like I think the days of MLB not wanting that are over. I think Fox doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But I don't think, like, the way MLB has positioned themselves, and rightfully so, this game is going international. And as are most of these NFL's doing it. I mean, even the NHL's make. So I think
the NBA might have been the first to do that, right?
The NBA
is just to take their game international and be.
They usually are.
Yeah,
they usually. But the way I think the long-term vision, I think this is what Manfred would love to have. I mean, just look at the interest that Sportsnet's getting out of this. So I think the long-term plan of generating an international brand, this is perfect for MLB. Now, like I said, Fox, not so much, but I think they're doing okay. I think this is, like you said, the audience that's being generated internationally that's watching Major League Baseball, they're going to capitalize fine on that economically. So this is a really good thing. So
yeah, and this is going to really generate interest in the World Baseball Classic too next March or February.
boy, is it ever. Boy,
Yeah.
is it ever. And even like, let's think about, and Griff, not to talk Ironbacks because we've got lots of time to do that. No, but that's kind of the thought process of where Canadian baseball's at. And all of a sudden, this Canadian team's getting better and better. And the interest that will be there for Team Canada because of the Toronto Blue Jays winning is going to be tenfold now. The game is growing rapidly in this country. And wouldn't it be something if Canada could capitalize on that at the World Baseball Classic and get out of the pool that they're in? That would just do so much. It's coming. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Ironbacks, and I know you're in the middle of a winter of recruiting. You're already 3 months ahead of last year, your franchise first year, where you were handicapped by everything that happened. But I had an idea last night. Did you know that Trey Yesavage has a year of eligibility left at East Carolina, and he's only 22 years old? Maybe we
could get him on his bullpen days. For a couple innings here. We'll send a car.
All right, we're gonna have a few more topics here. This is really, I mean, and we're gonna do one at the end of the World Series. We're gonna do another exit philosophy, but there's one mixed opinion situation that the Blue Jays find themselves in now. And the question to you that I'm going to ask, and I'll give you my opinion after, is the DH position. We obviously had an oblique injury to George Springer. Bo can't run. He hits balls off the wall and he stops at first base. And there's only room for one DH. I think it was sort of a break to be able to put Bo Bichette instead of playing second base, instead of playing in the field and then having to take him out of the game, you leave him at DH as he did in Game 5. And so he swings the bat. I mean, the guy had a full month and a half off, and he comes back swinging and shoving.
Does that tell you how BS rehab assignments are now?
Yeah.
Can we just stop that nonsense?
Yeah.
Slow build back to the major leagues. God.
So, but an oblique, we've seen oblique injury, and that's clearly what George Springer has. Would you even attempt to say he may be able to start at DH in Game 6 and 7, or would you just sit him and in Game 6 have Bo DH and let it roll with IKF at second and the lineup that they had last night?
I mean, if he's not 100%, yeah, I think so. And I don't know how that could be possible, right? It seems unusual you could be 100%. I think I'd rather have that situation rather than risk starting Springer, and then you got to pull guys from the lineup, and you're in a situation that kind of you ended up in the 18-inning game where guys are not in the best spots in a lineup, when you might need a big hit. So, yeah, unless Springer can really, really attack, I think you're probably ready to roll with IKF and let Bo DH because, I mean, now you got two guys in the lineup that are not fully there, and you got to start making moves. And then you find yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah, and I also think that it's a sign of respect that even though everybody in that clubhouse knows that George Springer with an oblique is not going to be much of a help offensively, that they leave him on the active roster. They don't replace him with Joey Loperfido. They allow him, like he was going to do in Game 5, they allow him to maybe pinch run for somebody. But there's only 2 games left, and having him on the active roster is akin to having Loperfido, who wouldn't get into games anyway. And so you might as well, out of respect, leave George there.
And what if he is 75%? Maybe he can give you one at bat in a big moment. You know what I mean? Like maybe you can pinch hit in a certain scenario against a lefty, and he can do something. But I mean, I doubt that, but who knows, right? Who knows? And the threat is still there. The threat is still there.
I can imagine if they had the internet and if they had podcasts back in 1988, it's the same conversation people would have been having about Kirk Gibson. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
You might as well. Yeah, he's not even gonna play in the. And that was Kirk Gibson.
Here he comes.
That was Kirk. Do you believe what you just saw? That was Kirk Gibson's only at bat in that World Series.
It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, period, in a baseball game. It probably is. And I'll never forget even where I was, right? You just remember that moment. It was surreal. It was surreal. Yeah. And you never know. Let's leave that possibility open.
Yeah, I was walking down the Dodger Stadium concourse, looking at the field, looking at the at-bat, heading to the Dodgers clubhouse because I was PR volunteer, going to be in charge of interviews in the losing clubhouse. And then all of a sudden, a home run. And I said, I forget who the other PR guy I was walking with. I said, well, I guess we're going to the winning clubhouse because I was just a kid, 1988. Well, maybe not just a kid, but
I was in a bar at Young and Girard watching with a whole bunch of other people ready to go to the gasworks for some late night musical entertainment. So,
sounds like more fun than I had. But
I don't know about that, but it was we did have fun. That was quite a scene, that's for sure.
So we'll wrap up here. I want to give you a name and get your impression, World Series only, and what it is that you like, dislike, what surprised you. And I'll just go down a list, not alphabetical order or anything, but Chris Bassitt.
Oh, I mean, unsung hero, right? One of the lesser MVPs of this World Series. I mean, he's just Dyson. And to have, to have guys contribute that didn't contribute early on, this postseason's taken on a life of its own. And now he's in the World Series, is one of the most important guys in your bullpen. I mean, if they pull this thing off, everybody had a big role where Scherzer and Bassitt were obviously not a part of it early on. He's been unbelievable. And I like him out of the pen. He brings, like not like Yamamoto, but the selection of pitches that is tough for a lineup when he's coming out of the pen like that late in the game. So, or 6th, 7th inning. So, what a performance by Bassitt. He's saved that bullpen a lot.
Yeah, it's also created a new a new paragraph in his resume as a free agent, that he's able to do that he's able to do both things. I think he would still want to be a starter even at 35, 36, whatever he is right now. But to show the ability to be effective in bulk relief or, as a swing guy and maybe getting some starts, I think is great. The one name that I'm not going to bring up now, but is baffling, is Jose Berrios. He doesn't even get introduced in lineups anymore.
It's weird, eh?
Yeah.
Weird. That's not.
And he has one more year under contract, and then has an opt-out clause. Either he takes that opt-out clause, or he says, "Trade me this off season," because they disrespected him in a way that I don't understand.
Yeah, there's. I'm sure we'll get into that again in the off season, but I do feel bad for Jose. He's been. Nobody's taken the ball and done their job better than Jose, and he's kind of been pushed to the side, so to speak. And the fact clearly that he's not around, that's not a good sign. I was probably not feeling it. So, love that guy too. Love that guy.
I wish that he shows up for game 6 and 7, or that he's invited back to be a part of the celebration, because when he signed the long-term deal, it was really an indication to free agents and to players all around baseball that the Blue Jays were serious. I mean, here's the guy they traded for, they gave up good prospects for, and then extended him. So he was a big part of where they are right now.
For sure.
Even in the season where he was terrible, he made 31 starts and 32 starts, because 32 was his magic number every year until this year. And the Jays were 21-11 in his 32 starts, even when his ERA was well over 4, and people were complaining about. But when you're 10 games above 500 games you start, okay, you get a lot of offense, you get some runs behind you, you're lucky at times, but you're a gamer, you're a professional, and this is the way that he should not be treated given his history with this franchise.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation for him. I hope that'd be great. I'd like to see him tomorrow night, and just he deserves to enjoy it. He deserves to enjoy it.
Next name, Jeff Hoffman.
Still worries me. Tip your hat. He's gotten the job done. But if he's coming out there to lock things down, I'm still nervous. I don't know about you. Even watching him, he's been better in the World Series than I even think he looked previously, even though the job's been getting done. So you can't argue with it, but I just don't think he's been overly sharp for a long time. I don't think he's been overly sharp for a long time, and we'll see. He's going to get a shot, though.
Yeah. The scenario I see is Game 7, and he comes out to pitch the 9th, and then Blue Jay fans will be angsting unbelievably. What I would like to see, you mentioned it earlier, is maybe get Hoffman in a tough situation in the 7th to face the middle of the order, but not have him on the line as much, and then have Yesavage come in and shut it down in the 9th. Right. That would be historically brilliant.
I think that's probably the way they're thinking of too, which is wild, but that's 100% what I would do as well.
Next name, Brendan Little.
Well, I don't think you'll see him again, but
this series or forever with this franchise?
I possibly forever, but I meant this series. It's too risky. He just doesn't throw enough strikes in Game 6 and 7, unless you're bringing him out, well, to try to get to one batter and get to the end of the inning. The problem is if you don't, it's got to face 3. I think he's a last resort, like multiple extra inning guy again.
Like 18th innings. 18th and 18th innings.
And if it wasn't the 18th inning, you wouldn't have seen him in the series either. So he's there, but thanks for everything type thing.
I think he's passed the baton to Mason Fluharty in that role. Only thing is,
who is in my mind legit. Fluharty is, that sweeper. I mean, I just think Fluharty's legit. He's a tough guy on lefties, and I think you're going to see him around for quite a while. I don't see any reason why he's going anywhere, and I think he's going to get some key. He's going to get the Ohtanis and Freemans.
I'm going to move
if that situation arises, and what's that?
I'm going to move one name up because of the discussion and the way it was headed here with Fluharty. Eric Lauer. What's your impression?
He just gets the job done, and you have to old school guys. I love it because he's not throwing a hundy. He's not Blake Snelling you when he gets out there. He's just pitching. And he talk about impressive. And it's funny how he kind of got pushed to the background, which you kind of understand. But every time he gets the ball, he does the job. Every single time. You're just not afraid to give it to him. It's been impressive, man. So I wouldn't be afraid to run him out there if you need a couple innings, too, from him. He was perfect for that 18-inning game. He was perfect.
Yeah. I think with Lauer's presence out there and Chris Bassitt's presence out there, and as you pointed out, Bassitt in the first round wasn't even on the roster. But with those two guys there, if there is a Game 7, they will not hesitate to go to the bullpen if Bieber is struggling a little bit, and they see something they don't like, because that bullpen is going to be ready to go. And there's those two bulk guys who can go more than 3 outs, go 2 innings apiece. Maybe Bassitt, Bassitt, they won't let go more than 2, but the bullpen will be ready. So, Bieber. will
if
not
I
get
do,
in
if
that.
I do have a fear, it's that they go to the bullpen too early.
No.
Like we've seen that before, and just to be a little too jumpy to take Beaver out of there, like in the third inning or something, when they're like, because he can settle in like he did and shove. So that if I have a fear, it's that Beaver, if they get to Game 7, they're too quick to play that game. We'll leave that for now.
All right, I'm going to lump these two guys together because they both came in at the trade deadline. But Louis Varland and Seranthony Dominguez, both those guys came in. There was a lot of talk that there were better relief pitchers available, better options available. But Louis Varland has become an everyday guy in the postseason. And like he's still throwing 99, 100. He's doing his best. He's not like perfect. But this guy has great stuff and is willing to take the ball every day. And like Seranthony Dominguez he's better than I thought he was in Philly and in Baltimore. And sometimes he loses his command. I think he did a little bit obviously when he threw that first pitch meatball to Shohei Ohtani. But what do you think of those two guys in terms of the trade deadline acquisitions that have helped them get to this point?
Well, Varland's their guy. There's no question. He's their number one most reliable guy, I think, that they go to out of the bullpen. I still don't understand how the Twins would let him go, all things considered. Well, like where he's from and controllable. So I think the Blue Jays are rather fortunate to have him, and he does have great stuff. Dominguez scares you in key moments. His command is not what you want to see in a bullpen, so to speak. He's got great stuff too. If you need a strikeout, I think for sure he'll get his opportunities. But you feel more comfortable with Varland. He throws 100, and he definitely seems to be more reliable, and they have a lot of faith in him. And I think he's in a good spot. So Varland's their guy, and you're going to see him. You're going to see him Friday and Saturday if necessary. There's no doubt about it. So you feel good about him right now, I think. So
the Addison Barger, did they wait too long to have him as an everyday player against right and left-handed? Because we've been saying that he should be in there every day in either right field or at third base. And he's proven that he can handle both. And if you really want to, like in right field, I would leave him out there. But at third base, you can make that late inning defensive maneuvers and put Ernie Clement over there and put IKF at second base. You can handle it different ways, but I have always thought that he should be in there every day.
Well, I mean, the question was always he couldn't hit lefties, and frankly, he couldn't. All of a sudden, he's managed to find his way. He was 2 for 2 with a walk against Blake Snell. Like that's not soft tossing lefty out there. So yeah, if he's going to find a way to handle himself against a left-handed batter, he plays every day. He's got too much power. I love him in right field. I think he's more reliable out there. He's got a cannon. He plays sufficiently defensively as opposed to third base. I just, which is fine. An opportunity coming in the next year at least to show he can handle an everyday job. He's gonna get that chance, and it's all gonna matter how he handles the left-handed pitchers as his career moves on, because he's certainly got power.
Yeah, the bottom line on that bench, and we talked about it early, is that Nathan Lucas is going to have a starting role right now in left field, batting second against right-handed pitchers. But the guy Miles Straw comes in defensively for Addison Barger in right field, and they switch whoever's in left over to right, whatever the move is. But I never get that, Like a guy throws 99 miles an hour from right field to bases, and he doesn't always take the best route, but he gets there.
Right.
And he made a dive catch, and he's always going all out. I sometimes think that they're just trying to get Miles Straw in because, they want to use the whole bench. But like, there's a guy, Miles Straw, in the postseason has been just a defender, but he's been in most of the games.
Yes, and he's a hell of a defender. So I certainly understand at least having him out there.
Yeah, I'd love to have one great arm in the outfield, and I know Nathan Lucas has a decent arm.
I agree,
but not like Barger. Yeah,
I agree, and he's accurate. I mean, it's not like he's throwing it all over the place. He's on the money with that thing.
Yeah, and you look at him and you like the throw to the plate they got Freddie Freeman. You're going, he's throwing it like a one hop, and it just straight to the glove, and you're going, what?
Nope.
99.
Right there.
Okay, one more comparison here. John Schneider, Dave Roberts. Has either of them had an impact? I know that they've both made moves but that's why it's a 7-game series. You make a move, it costs you a couple runs in a big moment, big situation, and you still have a chance to overcome it unless it's a game 7.
Yeah, I don't think either manager's been, the reason.
Those two guys?
I don't think either guy's been the reason they win or lose. I mean, everybody was all over John in the 18-inning game, and the one Barger move, I think you could criticize him for. But I've never been a fan of Dave Roberts. I just don't think he's, winning any men's contests or anything. I think he follows the script. I think as designed by. I mean, they're telling you how this game's supposed to go. So I don't think Roberts has as much leeway to do stuff anyway. So in fairness to him, so I mean, they're fine. I mean, now, could they have an impact in 6 and 7? Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see what happens. But
it won't be immense impact. It'll be the opposite.
yeah, that's what we're looking for. Whoopsies.
But I was driving home after game 2, the Yamamoto game at Rogers Center, and I was listening to an all-night radio sports talk show, and the two hosts were getting all over Schneider for not being angry enough that his team was shot down. I mean, everybody's got an opinion, and yours and mine are the only ones that are correct. So,
as always, Christ.
One last question, and then we'll shut it down. Is Vlad against Ohtani? Obviously, it depends on which team wins the World Series, but is Vlad a mortal lock if the Jays win? And is Ohtani even on the? I guess Ohtani.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Ohtani.
What do you?
Has to be right. I mean, but I mean, it's yet to be written. I think. I mean, they're clearly the heavy favorites. Just like I said, if Yesavage comes in and closes out the game and gets Ohtani to win a World Series, he's winning it. But Vlad's legacy is certainly, entrenched, I think, at this point. He's had a hell of a postseason. So there's not much can go wrong for Vlad at this point. I think it's going to be looked on quite favorably. The contract, nobody's going to care about right now. Anyway,
my feel, just we'll wrap this up, but my feeling on Vlad is that, and this is something I'm sure you've seen, is that Canadian baseball fans, Canadian sports fans do care what the U.S., the American media, and the American fan bases think of them. So I think that even though Blue Jays Nation has seen Vlad every day, I think that the postseason, the month of October, has cemented Vlad's reputation. The network loves him. Fox with Big Papi loves him. Everybody is crazy about Vlad, and I think that reflects back on the Blue Jays fan base, and that this has cemented Vlad for the next however many years. If he remains healthy, he will be a baseball god in this country.
Well, and imagine if he hadn't signed that deal, where we would be today with the stress of the unknown going into an off season. So getting him,
it would be where's
between the lines.
would be where the questions would be, where are Vlad and Bo going together as free agents?
Yeah, exactly.
And so now it's just will Bo sign, and neither of us think he's going to re-sign here, especially with the way that the Jays have advanced to the World Series with Jimenez at shortstop. I mean, that's just been an eye opener, and obviously the Blue Jays knew that and had that in mind to begin with.
And all the big players in baseball probably are in need of a shortstop. So good timing to be a Bo Bichette free agent.
Even the Dodgers. I mean, you look.
Yeah, they got to get Mookie off
Betts, and like he's got to hit a wall. He's a wispy guy with tremendous baseball skills. Yeah. But that's worn him down being the everyday shortstop for 7 months.
Right.
That's crazy. Yeah. So that wraps up this special edition going into Game 6. And at the conclusion of this postseason, at the conclusion of the World Series, Mal and I will be back with another edition of Exit Philosophy. But in the meantime, thank you all for checking us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. And we will be back. We will be back early next week with pom-poms, or I think most of our listeners want that Exit Philosophy on air. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week, and go Jays, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.